start. This is our moment. Turn the level way up till it's high voltage. We gon' light them up, make the world take notice. When the game face on, then it's game over. You a witness and a force to be reckoned. Grinding for greatness. Proving it.
What is up, folks? Welcome back to Foul Ball Talk on Pigtown Sports YouTube. Matt Sugar, Zach Moore, and Tim Malarkey with our very special guest of the evening, Reeta Hubbard. Reeta, welcome to the show. Boys, what is going on?
Thank you guys for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I just want to set something straight. It's Reeta, Matt, Zach, and Tim, not the other way around.
Thank you.
I am doing good tonight, fellas. It's been a long week of work, so it's good to hop on and chat a little bit of baseball finally.
Yes, it is. We have a lot to talk about because it seems like we get some sort of bad news regarding this baseball team almost every single day.
Well, I think we went today without any bad news, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, sky's looking up.
Unless you looked at the score.
Oh, well, yeah.
That was fine. we actually start off with that if you want. I actually thought Cade Povich absolutely dominated, and he's the first guy in the entire spring training to go past 4 innings, and he got lit up in the 5th. But, I mean, we still got 16, 17 days till the start. And, I mean, Cade's probably going to go the 5th day, so he's got another roughly 3 weeks till it really needs to be ramped up. So, to go into the 5th inning and get hit around a little bit, I'm okay with that. But he absolutely shoved for 4 innings, in my opinion.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm a big Cade Povich fan. I know that a lot of conversations have been had about like who's going to be, the next pitcher with Grayson going down and between Suarez and Povich, and I'm team Povich. I know that last year the kid got put in a situation that I don't think any of us really would have flourished in. You know what I'm saying? And, he's had a whole off season to get it together. And I think he got a couple of good pitches, in my opinion. So I would like to think that he'd be the guy that they would go to, barring this Grayson injury. So I'm not sure how you guys feel, but I think he's the best option.
No, I agree. I thought it was interesting. It was probably a couple weeks ago. Hyde was doing an interview, and he said something. I don't know if he specifically listed Suarez over Povich, but when he was talking about it, it sounded like Povich was, under Suarez on the pecking order. Me personally, I would like to see Suarez be the long man in the pen because without Kittredge, we've said it on the show before, Reeta, that the bullpen went from above average to below average with just the drop of the hat. So I think Suarez being a great asset in the pen, but not only that is if you need to pull him out of a pen, we already saw what he can do with an hour's notice before a game. Yeah. If he needs to spot start, just let him be that position again because it paid dividends for us last season. Why mess with that? Povich has been pitching his lights out this spring training. He's hungry for the spot, and I think you should just let the dust settle. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. We all know that when that 26 man comes out for opening day, that there's always a couple surprises.
Because Hyde is a liar. When he opens his mouth, he lies.
Coach speak. That's what they call it. The lies are called coach speak.
From the book of John Harbaugh. In order to lead a team in this city, Reeta, you have to learn how to lie and say a whole lot without saying nothing all at one time.
Yes. I completely.
They're really good at it, though.
They are. They're fantastic at it. They got half the city fooled, and the other half doesn't believe them.
It's called media training. You get sent to it for a couple weeks a year.
Sorry. I didn't play minor league baseball.
They know what they're doing. Let's just put it that way. But we can touch on Suarez. I mean, Suarez is a great Swiss Army knife, in my opinion. I mean, to leave Povich to get consistent, right? He knows he's getting the ball every 5th day. Not, okay, am I going to pitch today or maybe again tomorrow, or am I going to sit for 5 days? Like, just let him take the ball every 5 days. Suarez he's a more mature player at this point. He's proved himself in both spots. He can do whatever you need him to do. let him stay in that kind of role.
Yep, that I agree. I mean, I just don't. You know what you're getting from Suarez. He's a vet. He's been around for quite some time. I just think that you got to give the young boy a shot. You got to figure it out. Let him figure it out. And, you did that last year with, in my opinion, coming off of 100-year win season, higher expectations last year. So I think, I think that you just got to let him, work through, he's going to struggle. It's going to happen. But consistency, I think, is the most important thing. Now, the Orioles have told us that, well, they haven't told us, but they like to go around and say that they are like, the pitcher whisperer. So if you're the pitcher whisperer, fix the kid up and let him get out there every 5 days. It's just that simple. Make it happen, Captain, is what I like to say.
He whispered Corbin Burns all the way to Arizona.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, Matt's in a great mood this evening.
Already. We are 5 minutes in, and that's the second dig you done put out on somebody.
Sorry about that. I do want to touch base, touch on a little bit of the rotation. Zach and Tim and I, we've all kind of really been, trying to get a feel for what this rotation is going to look like. And we know Eflin's going to be the number one. Grayson was slated to be either the number one or the number two. And then there's, Morton, who looks great this spring. Kramer is going to be that 4 guy. And then Sagano's hanging around.
Yeah, we're going to circle back to that Kramer comment.
Yeah.
I was just going to be quiet, but go ahead.
Yeah, we'll circle back. But the way it's looking right now, and I might be on the pessimistic side or the negative side, according to these guys. They're the forever optimists of the show. I'm the realist of the show. The way they're handling Grayson Rodriguez right now, Rita, I really believe that this is going to be a situation where on a Tuesday afternoon at 3:30, when nobody's paying attention, Grayson Rodriguez is going to undergo Tommy John surgery.
Oh, boy.
So the way the rotation is going to filter out, it's going to be Eflin, Morton, Kramer, Sugano, Povich. And if you put that on paper for the 2025 starting rotation and then look at last year's starting rotation, it's eons apart. And these guys can be as analytical as they want, Rita, but when you look at the bare bones of the 5-man, that is not a good start to the year.
No, I agree. I mean, I don't know. Look, Morton is a solid pitcher, but I know we keep beating a dead horse here, but he's been in for so long, right? Like, he's played for so long. You don't, at any moment, we feel like that this could end. And by end, I mean not be productive anymore, right? So there's that part of it, right? There's the Sagano part where, okay, great, but what do you look like here in America on a major league level? We don't know that, and we're gonna have to find that part out. I like Eflin a lot, and I think that that's the one thing that I find solace in. But outside of that, and also too the Povich thing, right? I mean, I am a K Povich supporter. I think that he has the stuff, but when you look at what they had last year, I mean, you had, even though Kyle Bradish did go out, you still had Kyle Bradish, at some point you had, Corbin and all of these things. Yeah, it's a big difference. And then, I skipped around Dean Kramer because Dean Kramer is an interesting character. He can either get you Cy Young type, appearances, or he's going to just, excuse my French, but shit the pot. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I think he just wakes up one day and say, today's going to be a good day. And then the next time he wakes up and says, today is just not the best day, and I'm just going to go out there and do what I have to do. And I know that spring training doesn't mean anything, but I mean, the Braves game is just, it's Dean Kramer in a nutshell. So.
Yeah, he wakes up and chooses chaos every single day.
I swear he does. I swear. And sometimes it's good chaos. Sometimes it's bad chaos. It just depends on his mood.
But knowing the history of the way this franchise handles injuries, especially to the pitchers, would it surprise you at all if Grayson misses this year?
No, it would not. And look, this is not. We know that this is not just an Orioles thing. Last year, a lot of pitchers got hurt. The Dodgers obviously is an example of that. So this is not an Orioles thing. It's a league-wide thing, but it was a lot of pitchers on the Orioles staff, a lot.
I'm actually pretty shocked this year that not many pitchers around baseball are getting hurt yet compared to what we heard last year in spring training.
I was gonna say, are you being funny? Because like you literally like the Yankees don't have Garrett Cole, they don't have Hill, they don't have nobody over there. So
I know, but it's like
they got free. But
I feel like last year we heard about so many guys going down in spring training, and this year it's like kind of just the AL East. Like Giolito got hurt, Grayson got hurt. It's real weird. Like it's like literally the only team that's healthy right now is Tampa Bay. And they scared the living shit out of me. I'm gonna throw that out there right now. I could see Tampa Bay making the playoffs. And everybody's already written them off for the season. Tampa Bay has the best pitching staff in the East. The best.
They've always had, to me, for a long time they've had that. You know what I mean? That's something that they invest in. You know, they're big on that. And I can see that. I'm just curious to see, but they can't stay healthy either. And that's been their crutch the last couple of years, right? So how is that going to work for them? And you know, in my opinion, you know, if the Grayson thing, if what Matt is saying about, you know, one day it's just going to be Grayson's going to get Tommy John, right? Honestly, I'd rather that if that's going to happen, because I don't want to speak that into existence. If that's going to happen, I would just rather it happen now so we can deal with that now and figure out what it is that you are going to do up until the trade deadline. Because the season's not necessarily over. You can obviously make a trade, right? But somebody's going to have to, you know, put a ransom on you. That's what's just going to have to happen. But it is what it is. So I'd rather know than to toy with the idea, kind of how we did with Batista, you know, when he got hurt at the end of August and, you know, now he can't play. Give me the bad news now. You know, if you feel like that this is what it needs to happen, let's move forward to 2026. So then that way you know how to move forward now. But I mean, I could be in the minority when it comes to that.
Yep. I've been saying it for years, Rita, on this show and to these two and friends and stuff, that I kind of have a thing where the Orioles always seem to be one injury away from devastation. And I thought coming into this, you know, pre-Grayson injury, I was like, you know, we didn't go get that certified ace, but that's okay. We're all right. We have Povich still. We have Suarez still. We have a little bit of depth there. Then Grayson goes down. So last week I talked all about it. See, guys, look, now we're one injury away from disaster. Let me pose a question to you guys since we talked last week. Is Matt, do you know what Dean Kramer's ERA is so far this spring?
No.
It's 9.
I'm pretty sure I could do better than that.
So
it's not funny.
I was feeling okay obviously not okay after the Grayson injury, but I was, you know, like, okay, well, we still have our starting 5. Povich and Suarez will duke it out for that last spot. And if there's an issue, we have a 6th man. That was me having full faith and being comfortable with Dean Kramer as a 4 in this lineup. I would say I'm a little concerned. Now, I know Dean has done this before. You never know what you're going to get. And he also seems to be a guy that heats up towards the end down the stretch. But I looked it up. He's never had a start like he's going through right now. And I know it's just spring training. Time will tell. But I'd be lying if I say I wasn't a little concerned.
I'm going to touch on that. So Dean has actually had an above an 8 ERA 4 out of the 5 spring trainings.
Woo! But has it been 9?
And since 2022, in March and April, he starts the season with almost a 6 ERA.
I did. Yep, I saw that.
And then he gets into May and has a 3. And then he gets into June and has a 3.7, and then a 4.68 in July, and then a 3.2 and a 2.9 in September. So Dean he sucks to start, and then you get to that trade deadline and then the All-Star break and he sucks again, and then he just turns it on, it seems like. And that's been since 2022.
I have a problem with that. If this is since 2022 and this is 2025, you're not doing anything different.
That's on the Orioles, I think.
Whoever it's
on everybody.
Whoever it's on, I didn't specifically say, you know, who's responsible. I'm saying that that's what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And yes, it probably is a lot of what to do with the Orioles, a lot of it to do with Kramer, whatever. Your offseason preparation has not changed. You didn't look at yourself and say, why am I having such slow starts? What am I doing differently this time?
Right.
And I have a problem with you doing the same thing, thinking that at some point it's going to change, because we know that's the definition of insanity. It's insane.
Yep.
You know what that sounds like? The Orioles are not fine.
They're all right.
Come on, she's by far my favorite guest so far, because she is keeping this shit real. Because we don't got former players that have connections to the organization that want to see the great and everything, but yet we have to have that balance, and Reeta is that balance. So thank you for that. Thank you for that explanation.
I don't work for
Reeta.
anybody. Well, I mean, I do work at Odyssey sometimes, but I think they like when I be going in on the Orioles. I think it makes good radio. So I'm gonna say what I gotta say.
You do it and don't whine from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
I mean, there's a certain Mike at on your network, Reeta, that literally shames Mike Elias for 4 hours a day. So I think there's a little bit of.
And I agree with him more and more as the time goes on. I think I'm in that era of my life where I'm standing on the grass yelling at the clouds.
Yes, old man yells at
the same thing
clouds
over and over. You start to believe it.
I'll be 36 in 2 days, and I think I'm there. Oh,
but
man, I love.
I do agree with you, Reeta. I don't know if it's they're afraid to get hurt and maybe not push themselves in the off season, because it seems like our guys come in and they most of them get kind of hit around a little bit, and then most of them get hurt too. And I actually read an article the other day, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. I forget what organization it was. It was Toronto, actually, and Scherzer had talked about it. And he said that their new philosophy going forward, starting this year, was they were going to take the pitch counts off of their minor league pitchers and start to have them throw more. They're going to start extending them immediately, throw more throughout the season, no more 80 pitch counts and stuff. The Orioles are on like a 60 pitch count. Throw them, build them up, and see if their arms come back and injuries go down. And I thought that was really interesting. Because they might be the first team in the big leagues to try that, and somebody's got to try something different, right?
Well, especially them, they got to try something different because
everybody does, in my opinion. I mean, there's just so many injuries.
Yeah,
you got to start trying something different. I mean,
yeah.
I love what they do overseas in Japan and Korea. I understand they don't throw as hard. Not as many guys throw 100 miles an hour, but they don't get hurt until they come here. And it's because they're playing baseball from like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day, and they're throwing nonstop every single day. Their pitchers are throwing and they're running, and everything they do is just different than here, and they just seem to stay healthy. And I don't understand why we haven't adopted that yet, but
they also have radar guns that are accurate.
That too. Yeah.
Somebody in the chat, they mentioned
interesting ways, yeah.
They brought up Trevor Rogers, and I'm gonna be honest, I forgot all about him. I mean,
yeah,
we having these conversations about Dean Kramer, and I know that Rogers was not good. I saw it, but again, this is an organization that believes that they can fix pitchers. So what is that project looking like? Like, we have to start looking at options here, and is it Kramer? To me, is not a 4. He's not a 5. I'd make him a long relief pitcher in a perfect world. In a perfect world, he's a long reliever. That's
until September. Until September.
In a perfect world, he's only pitching, at most 3 innings, because and that's just what it's gonna be. But this is not a perfect world, and the Orioles are dealing with some issues with pitching. So what are the other guys doing? You traded for 2 guys last season. One guy turned out to work. One guy, you said, "Oh, well, we'll work on that later." Well, later is now.
Yep.
What are we doing? I need an update. What's going on? Do we see this man poised to be an actual piece of what it is that they need from pitching right now, from whether it be from a starting perspective or a middle relief perspective, or are we still in the project phase? Explain.
I should just turn my mic off.
I think projects. I think projects. To
we
be
still
honest
in the
with you,
project. We still in the projects. Is that what you're telling me?
the guy got hurt. What are you gonna do?
Okay.
They can't keep a damn guy healthy right now.
I mean, I just didn't. I don't even know. I didn't even know much about him coming into spring training in terms of like what's the plan.
Yeah. I mean, even McDermott. I mean, another freak injury. I mean, that was a guy that I feel like probably had a chance to compete for a bullpen spot. We talked about it last week too, and I'd love to get your opinion on it, but the bullpen has no options in it. There's only 3 guys that have options. That's Aiken, Cano, and Felix, and very likely not sending any of those 3 down. Why was Brandon Young sent down so early and not potentially? And look, I get Brian Baker throws 98 miles an hour. Cool, woohoo. I understand it. And you don't want to lose him to somebody. Look, it's Mike Baumann 2.0. Mike Baumann threw really hard, but he throws it right down the middle. He's going to give you some good outings, and he's going to get just absolutely drug other outings. Brandon Young gave you options to move around with McDermott and Luis Gonzalez or whatever else you needed, and it was just like they were just really quick to send him back down. I didn't understand that.
Hey, Antoine, I was eating Smarties, man. Leave me alone.
He's been eating Smarties for 20 minutes.
You definitely are an old man eating Smarties, friend.
Look, that's my favorite non-chocolate candy. I was talking about it before you came on to the studio, Rita. Those and Airheads are my 2 go-tos for non-chocolate.
Living your childhood.
Yeah, I got to. My parents owned a corner store for 25 years, so it's like a throwback. So
got you.
Yeah, they had the penny candy. But Rita, I wanted to bring something up from our last show that I want to get your opinion on as well when it comes to this pitching. We have a group chat that we talk in all day long. So there's a certain number of guys in the league that throws over 98 miles an hour, and 69% of the guys that throw 98 or more have all had at least one Tommy John surgery. That seems like it's a growing trend that if you throw hard, it's inevitable that you're going to eventually get that surgery. I kind of reference back to like the early 2000s and the late 90s for some pitchers. You never heard Maddox getting Tommy John. You never heard Glavine being that kind of guy where he's got to crank 98 on the radar gun consistently. Pedro threw hard, but I don't remember Pedro getting hurt like that. Randy Johnson. It's like they substitute the art of pitching for velocity and spin rate. I didn't even know what spin rate was until like 3 years ago.
Yeah. I'm actually going to bring it up so you can see it, Rita.
Okay.
It's some nerd shit. I'm just letting you know it's nerd shit. If it's
hey, stop it.
So, nerd shit.
Just stop it.
Oh,
can't see it, of course.
Yeah, that's because your monitor's the size of the room.
Yeah, my bad.
And I do not have my glasses on, so
I wasn't even going to try to read that.
Yeah. Hold on.
NERD.
All right, we're going to read it all. There you
That's
go.
still small as shit, Zach.
I know. I'm sorry. I opened up a Twitter Chrome tab. Come on, man.
My favorite post by Brooksgate in a while, too.
So moving us is going to make us be able to see it better.
Just give me a minute, will you?
I love this.
There.
I love this. Okay. There we go. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can't see all of it, but.
Oh, gee, look who hasn't had a Tommy John surgery yet.
Yep.
Gordon Burns.
I was waiting.
Grayson Rodriguez.
I knew Matt was going to go right towards that list.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly forgot that Dustin May and McClanahan have had it twice, and you don't really see guys make it back after a second, and some of the guys on that list are really freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see how Ohtani pitches this year. Honestly,
is he going to pitch?
Do they even need him?
Right. They don't even. Do they need him? Like,
I don't really think they do.
Yeah, and I saw Barry Bonds. I mean, for lack of nothing, he basically was like, if I were you, Ohtani, I would not pitch. And I have a friend that's in the Dodgers organization that had felt last year that he was not going to be ready anyway by opening day 2025. So I don't because they were winning. I don't think that they made a big deal about like him getting back to form from his pitching perspective. And now that they've won, I don't know if they care a ton. So I'm curious, especially now that they got the other superstar from
Blake.
overseas. Yeah. So
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they I don't know if they're pressed about him doing that.
They could use him as a number 5 if they need to.
Maybe.
But they still have Kershaw too, honestly. So they
Or
really
just
don't
let
even
him
need him.
throw in the playoffs when they're back in the World Series again.
Let it be a closer.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
All right.
They're talking about Shohei being a possible closer or a spot starter in Los Angeles, and we got his uncle starting as our number 4.
I mean, we kind of we trying to get out of the projects when it comes to pitching, but hey, sometimes
Our pitching staff looks like Gilmore Holmes.
Maybe more like Latrobe, but
Latrobe, right behind all the jails that I work at. Yeah. Perfect. Rita, we're on the same page.
Listen, favor ain't fair. That's what it was always taught to me. Favor ain't fair. LA, unfortunately, knows how to work these contracts. They're the second largest market in the country.
And their minor league system is just absolutely loaded.
They're
that
stacked.
too, right? So they're just gonna be there for years. You know what I'm saying?
They are.
You just gotta hope that their pitching continues to just find bad spots and later on in the season, as opposed to like during the season.
Before we switch over to the lineup side of things, Rita, Andrew Kittredge, he's gonna have knee surgery if he hasn't had it already, and they're expecting him to miss a couple months. With your opinion, where do you see Kittredge coming back? Do you think it's gonna be before the All-Star break or after?
The way that this thing go, y'all laughing before I can even get my answer out.
Because I know where you're going. I'm in the same boat. I think the same thing.
What have the Orioles shown you to believe that there's a saving chance that he comes before the All-Star break?
That's what scares me is when they start talking. They literally just talked about it the other day that the swelling's not there like they thought it would be, and he's well ahead of schedule. And I'm just like, cool, you told us this stuff before, and then we don't see him until September.
Exactly. That's my whole thing. Like, I feel like, for instance, with the Grayson situation, it's just going to be a week or two. He got put on the 10-day DL, or what IL they call it now, after, last year, and then we never saw him again.
Right.
Yep.
The Orioles training room reminds me of Bon Secours Hospital. You leave and you go in and you're never coming out.
It happens.
Bon's a killer. Good grief. It's not even a hospital anymore.
All right. We've given it about 30 minutes on pitching.
I mean, it deserved 30 minutes, honestly.
It does. It always does. For my entire life, Orioles pitching has I can't.
Are we even going to talk about the elephant in the room that Batista might not start opening?
No. We don't need no bad vibes. No bad vibes.
No bad vibes.
We know he's not Rita. We know he's not going to be there.
I just don't want to say it out loud. I don't want to jinx. I don't want to say it out loud.
10-day IL. He'll go on the 10-day IL on like March 21st, and they'll retroactive it, 4 days or whatever, and then we won't see him till maybe the second or third series of the season.
I think I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I would too. As long as it's not too long. I'm okay with that.
And I'm going to lead us off right into the lineup situation by saying that we're not going to see Gunnar Henderson until Memorial Day.
Oh.
Don't say that.
No. I'm just calling. I
think he's going to play in 2 days, maybe 3.
For what? What? MLB The Show comes out in 2 days?
No, it comes out tomorrow, midnight. Or tonight, actually.
You know what?
Comes out in 3 hours. What are you talking about?
I mean, stop being obtuse. I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, they said he was taking ground balls and everything went great. He was hitting in the cage. So,
did they
I'll
show
be
anybody
optimistic on that?
Did they show us?
So they're weird about that because remember when they told Felix to stop posting on Instagram? Like, I don't understand. They don't like the whole video stuff. I don't understand why.
We have to take the word of them.
Clearly,
they want to be
clearly
the messengers, right? They said don't give nobody any high hopes. Let us be the ones to tell it.
Clearly, they don't like the video stuff. They broadcasted 8 games of spring training. Like, what do you mean? Did they show us? We can't even watch the games.
That's
that's
a little bit more financial, I think.
Reeta, we're looking at a situation now where the entire universal balance in the infield has completely shifted due to one injury. Of course, Ryan Mountcastle is going to be our first baseman going forward this season. But you've spent this, all last year, all off season this year, all spring training this year, acclimating Jackson Holliday to second base. Gunnar Henderson gets hurt, and the first instinct that this amazing coach that we have is to shift him back to shortstop and then take Westberg off of third base and put him at second base so you can have Urias or whoever playing the hot corner. And Westberg has done nothing but look like a below average second baseman in the time he's been back there.
Because he doesn't belong there. Yeah.
He does not belong there. And then Jackson Holliday, all the progress that we have had with him at second base, you can kill all of that by keeping him at shortstop. And the thing is, the way my brain operates, you're not moving Jackson Holliday to second base for 2 weeks. So that's why I'm thinking the Gunnar Henderson injury is a lot longer than they're saying, and they're playing and they're toying with this thing, and we're gonna forget because you're now gonna tell Jackson, oh, go back to second base. You're now having him take ground balls at short. He's playing short. He's starting there in the spring games, and now you got this whole infield off balance and everybody playing out of position. We're looking at the possibility of seeing Urias in the everyday lineup starting opening day. And no, just no.
Would you rather see Urias or like Livian Soto?
I would rather see none of them.
My short
That's
answer.
not an option. Somebody got to play third.
What I thought, like, if it was only Gunnar was only going to be out, 2 weeks, right? Why not just deal with it and plug Livian Soto in there for a couple weeks? Keep the guys where they are. Plug Soto in. Plug Urias in.
Or plug in Kobe Mayo and get his trade value up.
No.
I think this is more regular season involved too, because last year, I mean, how many times did they talk about it? They couldn't give Gunnar a day off because they literally had no one that could play shortstop once Mateo went down.
So you think that this is more so about like allow when he gets days off, Jackson is going to be the guy that's going to be
that slides over.
The logic makes sense. But I guess my question to you guys is, do you think that with Jackson, this is going to be his first opening day, right? So this is going to be his first year starting on the major league level at opening day. Based on as to say his career is very young. Is that counterproductive because you're moving him out of a position because that position is already taken?
Yes.
But then now we want. Is he versatile enough for where we think his brain can just switch back to second when he goes back to second? I guess it's
people are
as a 101. You better be.
I mean, but
people are forgetting.
I mean, if Kansas City got to a point where they never would, but if they say, Bobby, we need you to play third base, Bobby's going to do it because he's athletic enough, right? He wasn't even a 101, but Jackson should be able to do the same thing, in my opinion. The difference going from short to second is huge, but going back from second to short is not as bad.
I agree with that.
Getting the angles and the hands and stuff and the footwork, kind of excelled at both, I think makes him an overall better infielder, in my opinion.
I'm going to equate this to football for 1 second. Asking Jackson to go from second back to short and then transition back to second is like asking a career-long left tackle to go over to the right side and be just as productive without ever taking reps there in meaningful football games.
Did Michael Orr do it?
Michael Orr wasn't an elite left tackle.
He was good enough, though.
They made him move because they signed Bryant McKinney. So that's
borderline
for the rule.
Borderline Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
borderline.
He is. I get it. But it just seems like like when Mike Borton, Rita, we had Mike Borton on a couple weeks ago.
My guy.
And he was, yes, Mike's a great guy. We were talking to Mike, and he said learning second base as a natural shortstop, you pretty much have to reverse everything you've learned, learn new depth, learn new arm angles, and you're being on the other side of the double play ball.
Yeah.
And all your natural movement, you now have to reverse it.
Right.
Now, Jackson's been doing that for a better part of a calendar year. And now all of a sudden you're asking him to go to his natural position. So now he might, like Zach said, he's going to slide in there and fit like a glove. He's got the athleticism for it. But when in the event that Gunnar does come back, you're not going to have Gunnar playing third. You're not going to have Gunnar playing second. So you're going to have to slide everybody back to their natural position to restore the balance and order of the Orioles infield. But that's going to be, like you said, that's going to be counterproductive to Jackson having to go back to second base because he didn't want to play second base in the first place.
To begin with, right.
Because when we drafted Jackson, the natural thought process was that eventually Gunnar was going to move to third. A lot of scouts were talking about Gunnar moving to third, but then Gunnar had that all-star breakout year at shortstop where he was looking to be dynamite in the field and with the bat. And then, now that the conversation became, okay, Jackson's going to have to transition to second base because Gunnar's a shortstop of the future. But initially, we drafted Jackson with the expectation that Gunnar was going to play the hot corner, which it doesn't seem like that's going to happen because Jordan Westberg is a Gold Glove third baseman of the future.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not sure Jackson or Gunnar are technically the shortstop of the future until you show me that there is a future in Baltimore. I mean, Jackson did an interview the other day wearing his Boris shirt, so it's
just free shirt though.
Yeah.
I wear everything free.
Between Westberg, Gunnar, and Jackson, you got to show me that you want to lock one of them up. I mean, I know that it's probably not going to happen.
I'd say two. Honestly, I'd say two, but I get your point. Yeah.
I mean, I would
touch on that. Which two are you picking?
Oof.
Well, I mean, I gotta go with the two that I already know that can play, and that's just, I mean, that's just because I'm biased. I have recency bias, right? Like,
yeah.
So I'm going to say Jordy, and I'm going to say Gunnar because I think that Gunnar is going to be one of the core cornerstones in terms of what this organization is going to try to build around, right? And then I'm going to say Jordan Westberg because he's probably he's a pleasant surprise. I mean, I don't think that people thought he was going to be bad. I just don't know if people thought he would be a Golden Glove type of dude. And then now you got, he's in that position. So I'm only saying that just because I know what those guys can do. Jackson Holiday can turn around and change my mind come September, right? And now I have to rethink this whole pecking order of where I want this to go. But I agree, like you got to commit to somebody. And so I don't disagree with like the point that you were making in terms of like, yes, as a one, he should. I think my question is because of his inexperience. Maybe if he was already in the league a couple of years, I would expect that of him. Because, he's kind of, he's got his feet wet and all of those things. I think my thing now is how does that mess up all the work that you've done preparing him for the regular season, knowing that at some point Gunnar's going to come back. And now you have to go back to essentially, what you've been learning to do this whole off season. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a professional, right? I would like to think that that's something that he can do easily.
Jordan Westberg's not doing it very easily though.
I mean,
it's not easy.
It's not easy. That's what I'm saying. It's not easy. And I think that that's something we just got to all see to believe for real. I mean, yes, I know he's the number 1 overall pick. He was ranked all of these things. We have all these high expectations, but at the end of the day, like we still have to see it happen for us for all of it to be confirmed. And as of right now, we don't have that.
Or you could hold on to him until you think this team is really ready to make a run and use him to acquire your starters.
So somebody's getting traded.
Mm-hmm. Not
trading Holiday?
Not middle of this year. I'm thinking because you guys know
you're thinking down the road.
You guys know where I feel about what the Orioles feel they are at right now in this year. And I don't think that there necessarily is ever a win now mode for the Orioles. Like people want to say, it's win now. It's win now. This is win now. You got all these young players. I don't think the Orioles think like that. I think the Orioles plan is the long game. That's what Mike Elias is known for. And I think they want to be a win every year team for an extended period of years. And if you win the division or are a good team for 5, 6, 7 years straight, one of those years you're going to get a ticket. It's just, you got to get there. And the World Series, I mean, other than the Stanley Cup, it's the hardest trophy to lift in sports. It really is.
I agree with you, Tim. And Rita, I wanted to bring something up to you. We're talking about extensions. We're talking about cornerstones. I've been quite unhappy with our catcher for about a year now.
Yeah.
You brought this up yourself. Just
A
know
year?
that. You brought this up yourself.
Well, here's okay. My problem doesn't have necessarily to do with on the field. I believe in my heart of hearts. I know that he. Don't you fucking start. I believe in my heart of hearts that he was hurt for a good portion of last year. Something was wrong, and it didn't meet the eye test. It didn't meet the smell test. We all knew on this show that something was wrong last year. But the external bullshit that this dude was dealing with in the public eye was a little bit alarming. The stupid ass TikToks with that girl.
I ain't see that, yo. What am I missing?
His influencer girlfriend.
He was on the TikTok.
Timothy is going to explain that to you because he thinks it's awesome because he has an unhealthy obsession with Adley Rutschman. His dog is named Adley, but I digress.
She's laying right here too.
True story. Adley is laying at his feet. He was on again, off again. He looked like he was hurt, picked up a little bit of weight. His production fell off a cliff. Now here we are. He's in, I believe, his age 27 year. He's getting farther and farther removed from the first overall pick standing. He's due an extension in a couple years. He's not affiliated to Scott Boras. And we have Samuel Basayo coming up in this system. We have Creed Willems in this system, so we got some young catchers that can play behind the plate. Basayo seems to be the real deal. If you're the Orioles, what do you do with Adley Rutschman? Even though he looks to be in fantastic shape and he's hitting the cover off the ball right now, historically, he starts strong and then he fades as the season goes. And he didn't catch as many games last year as he did the year before.
Okay, so you gonna laugh because I might be the female Matt on here. I don't hate Adley. I
don't either.
I don't hate Adley. I mean, not. I don't want to use the term hate. That's a strong word, right? I'm cool with Adley. I like him. I was excited when he got called up. I was definitely, back in that nice day in May. I was like, oh my God, it's Adley time.
It was on the Preakness that he got called up.
Yeah, it was. You're right, because I think that they showed it at the Preakness too. So
another genius Angelos move.
I'm not aware of the TikToks. I don't know what he was doing, but it's funny that you mentioned that. So true story, and we listen and we don't judge.
Oh, we judge.
My boyfriend is a Yankees fan, but he's tolerable. We don't go at
everybody's got their own flaws.
Yes, this is true. And that's his flaw. And so we talk all the time, about baseball and stuff. And so it's funny that you mentioned that because I had said something recently and I was like, yeah, I can't wait for them to trade Adley and get Basayo. And he looked at me like, are you insane? You're talking about Adley Rutschman? And I was like, yeah, I'm talking about Adley Rutschman. And he's like, what are you talking about? This is one of the key players. And I was like, yeah, and that's fine. They got a guy behind him that I think is gonna be better. And I was like, and at the end of the day, I don't love Adley's. I don't love his catch form. I don't love, I just think his framing is bad. And then he turned around and he had a bad second half. Yes, he probably was hurt. Maybe. I don't know. He hasn't said. We don't know. I know his framing is bad. I don't love it. I don't want to say, maybe it's not bad. I just don't like it. Let me say that.
Zach's
I don't
a
like
big fan of his framing.
And Reeta, to be
you are, Zach. My bad. I apologize.
Oh no, he is not.
no.
Oh, that's sarcasm. Oops, I missed it.
Okay.
Oops, I missed the
But
sarcasm. Okay.
But Reeta, what Adley Rutschman was doing on TikTok is that this girl that he was loving on was having him do like those ASMR like mukbang videos where they try fast food that she's never had for the first time, and it was an almost every evening kind of thing, every day kind of thing.
To be fair, she's an Olympic athlete and probably hasn't
It
eaten
does
fast food
not
in probably
matter.
10 years.
Okay, she's an Olympic athlete. Okay, fine. He's in the middle of a goddamn baseball season, Zach. They play 162 games. You know this better than everybody else on this screen.
You gotta take care of your body.
Oh, I've never had Chick-fil-A before. What is going on? And then he hits 205, which is not even his body weight because he got fat. And I can say that because I'm fat, so it's okay. But that was my problem. Like, and I had a lot of issues with the way the team looked. Perception wise, it looked like the inmates were running the asylum for the better half of 24. But I digress in terms of the Adley, situation. I think that if they can find a way for him to transition to first base and DH, I think that he gets a long-term extension here. I don't think he's trading bait, and I don't think he moves on if he moves away from catcher, because if it's not going to be the middle of this year, it's going to be next year where Basayo is truly ready for the major leagues.
I just think that
I just don't see. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
I was going to say there's a lot of value in a first baseman that can switch hit and hit for 320.
They make more money than catchers, so he probably wants to move.
Right, and
yeah, you can move Mountie. You can Mountie can be gone, and then you can move him because I don't see how you get rid of Basayo with what we think he can be. You cannot trade that away. Think you have to find out if he is the real deal. He
could be the only untouchable Oriole. If you think about it, Basayo
in the minor leagues. Let's clarify.
In the minors, yes, minors.
I think there's nothing wrong with saying that.
He could be the only untouchable minor league player right now for the Orioles. Just to clarify, I think Gunnar is also untouchable, and the list goes on. But yes, I think Basayo might be the only one in the farm system right now that is 100% untouchable. And for him to be untouchable means you intend for him to catch.
Thank you, Joe.
And
did Joe just give you $2?
Yeah.
And the only thing
bring in the super chat.
Oh yeah, super chat from the Joe. What concerns me is that I circle back to the whole playing time thing, because McCann caught a lot for us. Zach, we've run the stats on the show. I don't think Gary Sanchez is going to have the ability to catch as much as McCann did. And even if he did have the physical ability to, or the possibility to catch as much as McCann did, I don't want that bat in my lineup as much. And I don't think Adley has it in him to make up for that gap, because we already saw he was banged up and hurt last year catching the games that he caught. So now you're going to ask him to catch more? Or is there something behind the scenes here? We've talked about it on the show. We all kind of think that Sanchez was brought in to be sort of like the McCann was for Corbin Burns and be Sugano's personal catcher, so to speak, because he's caught Japanese pitchers before. He actually speaks a little bit of Japanese. He had that experience when he caught for the Yankees, and we've already seen it, down in spring training. He's catching the bullpens for Sugano every time. So there was a little underlying thing, but my concern is who's going to make up that gap of games that McCann caught? Where's that coming from?
It's a valid question.
So you think sooner than later he's getting called up?
I struggle with this. I mean, I know 100% he's not making the team to start the year, that's for sure. But barring an injury, or we say Sanchez gets up there and struggles massively, or can't, catch the amount of games that you ask him. There's what's his name, Zach, the other catcher who would probably get the bid before Basayo.
Maverick Hanley or Silas Ardon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I mean, it's tough. I don't think we see him this year. The more I think about it,
they're not going to eat $10 million on Gary unless he like extremely sucks. But
Right.
I mean, from what they said, that he's literally the clubhouse leader. Like they said, the entire team looks up to him.
they love him.
They love it. He's not going anywhere. They're going to make him catch 40 to 50 games. And I mean, Can caught 66. So if you get 50 out of Gary, I think that's reasonable.
Now, transitioning to the outfield, Rita. We've debated the outfield pretty heavily on this show for the better part of the last couple months. How much of a leash do you give Cedric Mullins before you?
I give him I give him a longer leash than maybe many because I think that he's a guy that at one point he was the main one out there, making plays, and so
Fair.
he's. I do give him grace, probably more than
His
most.
defense is undeniable.
Yeah, and that's where I stand with that. And look, he did have a horrible stretch. Completely understand. And then he got better. You know what I mean? And you guys know baseball's a long season. And while his stretch was probably longer than you would have liked, for me, his defense makes up for what it is that when he struggles. I'm not making no excuses for him. He needs to find a way to be more consistent from a batting perspective. But I'm just not ready to just throw the guy away just because he has struggles offensively. Defensively, he's still a great player. So that I know I give him more grace.
That's
do.
fair. Because we got Colton Cowser, who's capable of playing center field.
Oh, and I love me some
Yeah.
Moo. I told everybody last year he was the guy that when everybody was talking about Jackson, I was talking about
because there's Colton, then you have Enrique Bradfield Jr. in the minors that could be
I think he's
2026. He's another untouchable, I believe, along with Zach. I agree with you. But now that leaves essentially one outfield spot open and DH, and now you're going to have to split that between Heston Kjerstad, Tyler O'Neill, and Ryan O'Hearn. So, out of those three, the defense isn't really there for any one of them. And honestly, right field might be the best bet for all three of them to play defensively. But are you gonna platoon O'Neill when he's making $16 million this year? That seems like a lot of money for a platoon guy. And
I am.
Good point.
I am.
And then are you going to give O'Hearn consistent at bats? Or are you going to let this young kid Kjerstad try to make his mark? Because I personally have said this on the show, and I believe Heston Kjerstad is a 35 to 40 run home run guy if you give him 500 at bats.
I agree. He's got power.
He's got that power and the short
hands.
And the short porch in right field. That just screams that he could give us Santander type numbers and could do that consistently. But it seems like the Ryan O'Hearn keeping him is hindering Heston from being in the lineup every single day.
It's hard to get rid of a professional hitter, though. He just grinds it. It would be very hard to look at the fan base and be like, we're letting Ryan O'Hearn go, even though he hits roughly near 300 runners in scoring position for the better part of 2 seasons. This place would erupt.
Hey, bring Drew.
That's fair, but my thing is like it feels like Kjerstad does get lost in translation every single time.
Kyle Stowers
start having like, yes, and it feels like he will not essentially be an Oriole. I mean, I hate that for me.
Yeah,
I like him.
I think his defense is what holds him back from getting consistent playing time.
Yes, it is. He does need to work on his defense.
Yeah.
I agree with that for sure.
But bring Drew's comment up on the screen, though, Zach. O'Neill is a 2-time Gold Glove winner, but how long ago was that?
2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he won them last year, the year before. Like, it's not like he's a 5-time Gold Glove winner.
He probably could be if he ever stayed healthy. The
That's
guy's
what I was
really
gonna
good.
say.
Well, he also looks like a middle linebacker playing baseball. So there's
Literally like a mini Pat Ricard.
Yeah, he looks like he could play. Him and Kyle Juszczyk might be the same size. That's
very
how
true.
that's how big he is. Like,
Yeah.
again, I'm not complaining about it, but Reeta, it seems like there's not a whole lot of wiggle room in that outfield for the young guys. You know, Enrique is going to start the year in AA or AAA, and I'm not even including Kobe Mayo in this entire conversation because it looks like Mayo might be starting in AAA again this year.
100%.
Because you got Jorge Mateo, Le'Veon Soto, you know, you got all these guys that can play super utility infield, and Soto can probably bump to the outfield in a pinch. And then you have O'Hearn and you have, you know, O'Neill that are probably going to get more bats than Kerstad as we stand right now, which shouldn't be the case. So
don't forget about Machine.
Yeah,
he's killing it in spring training.
He is, and I'm it just seems like Kerstad's going to be the odd man out yet again.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel too.
And
I just feel like
he hasn't done anything to separate himself.
That's the problem. I think from a hitting perspective, you see the potential, but they need more from him, and he's not.
Yeah, I mean, as a
right now,
1-2 guy, I mean, you were the second overall pick. I think they expected a little bit more. Not that they're disappointed with anything that he's done. I think they just expected a little bit more because he's got sneaky speed. I feel like sometimes the routes aren't the greatest, but he's got a sneaky good arm. I think they're waiting for him to just put it all together, but I don't think he's going to get the chance to put it all together without consistent playing time.
Yeah. Gotta work on that defense if he wants to get more playing time. He has to.
It's really not easy to go from a minor league stadium where there's really not a whole lot that's affecting your view to, I mean, it is Baltimore, but still 20,000 fans, 25 plus. And now, you know, the backdrop's a little bit higher. Like everything's just a little bit different. And then when you don't play that much, and it's the same thing we saw with Kyle Stowers, you don't play enough. How are you getting the reps? Like, cool. You can sit there and take BP reps, but it's all green seats at that point. Nobody's sitting in them. Nobody's wearing a white t-shirt behind the batter. Like it's little things that he's not getting enough of, but I'm not blaming anybody, but potentially himself for just not taking the bull by the horns either.
Yeah.
Yep. Rita, we haven't given you a chance yet. Why don't you tell everybody what you got going on in your life? Where can they find you?
I have one more question. I have one more question before we wrapped up, though.
Oh, I wasn't wrapping up.
We're just letting her plug herself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Proceed. I'm so sorry. I thought you were, wrapping up, Tim.
No, it's plug time. You can't plug at the end because people know that the show's winding down, and that's when they all dip.
So what do I have going on? I'm actually going to write a story for Baltimore Beat about the Orioles, about, you know, just the expectations from fans, and, you know, just how everything is kind of played out. So that should be coming soon because, you know, opening day is coming soon. So I look forward to that. And then, you know, of course, myself and Glenn, we're on 105.7 The Fan on Sundays and Tuesdays. Usually Sundays from 12 to 3. It's been kind of, we won't be on the next 2 Sundays because it's March Madness. Yeah, you know, basketball's important and whatnot. And then, you know, Tuesdays from 6 to 9 won't be on this Tuesday because, you know, basketball. But once that's over, you know, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled
I'll tell you, I follow along hardcore to 2 things you guys got me doing. I've been doing the book club.
Club? Yeah.
I've been doing the book
club is fun.
Oh,
right?
It's great. It's great for me because I am no book club guy, but I will turn on any documentary that
I love documentaries.
And then
love
also the candy ratings. Been following along with the candy ratings hardcore.
Sometimes we do candy, sometimes we do
just the new flavor of whatever.
Yeah, sometimes we do, you know, high blood pressure stuff. You know, we don't discriminate.
Speaking of
diabetes or high blood pressure.
Speaking of new candy, I follow this guy on Instagram called the Snackulator, and
that's Adley's account.
You know what? It's not because I see the guy's face, but That you almost got me there, Zach. But the Reese's is releasing a peanut butter and jelly flavor with grape and strawberries. So I can't wait for that. Anything with Reese's, I'm a sucker for. But
yeah, we're gonna try that because I love Reese's too.
Go.
So
see,
Reeta, do you want to plug your podcast?
Oh yeah, sure. Gridiron Gals podcast. I'm sure we'll be wrapping up the free agency that we just saw. We're gonna go in on Aaron Rodgers because that's the one thing we love to do on the podcast. That's our favorite pastime. So we'll talk about the moves that were made. Please pray for my friend Chels. She is a Dallas Cowboys fan, and she doesn't know what joy really looks like.
I'll add her right behind Rashawn. I'll put her right underneath him.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. But Rashawn got like a second home, which that's sacrilegious to me.
It is such a sacrilege. But you cannot have more than one team.
That's where I stand with that.
You choose them when you're young, and you rock with them until you die. That's
right. You pick them till death do you. It's like a wedding. You pick them till death do you part. You know what I'm saying? So
I will.
He is definitely in a polygamous relationship with sports that I don't necessarily agree with, but at least he said I'm a root for the local team, whatever. My friend does not do that, and
they make them different up there in Bowley's quarters.
Yeah.
So she's miserable. So we're gonna talk, and I'm sure she's gonna go all in on her Cowboys to talk about how once again they have had a really shitty season. That's all. Free agents.
All right, let's pivot back to the Orioles. I want to get your opinions on Anthony Santander's comments today. Have you?
I was ready for it.
I've been waiting for that.
Yeah.
So
0 chance.
Zero chance. Now
0 chance.
Do you think that? I'm going to give you an option here. Do you think the Orioles were cheap because they didn't want to pay him? Or did the Orioles make an offer that they felt was fair based on his play going forward? Or 3, they only just made him an offer just to not look bad, but they had no parts of even wanting him?
Ding, 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 ding.
I just think he wanted to say what he need. I think his feelings is hurt. I think that baby feelings hurt.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I think he wanted to stay. He was vocally adamant about wanting to return to Baltimore. And I don't think I just don't think that they gave him any. If they gave him a deal, it was nothing that it was probably.
I think it was around 13 or 14 million.
Just for them to say that they did.
They gave him the Austin Hayes treatment.
Right. And I think that he felt insulted, and understandably so. And that's why he said what he said. This is hurt people. And that's where I stand with that with Anthony Santander. And I'm not mad at him, actually. I'm not mad at him for feeling that, for saying that.
No,
hey,
I'm not either.
A lot of money. I mean, good for him.
Yeah. I'm with you. As soon as I heard that he said 0 chance and that chuckle, and then I watched it, I was like, he's pissed. He is pissed.
He don't want to be up there.
No, not
he
at all.
He don't want to be up there.
He loved Baltimore. He really did.
Yeah.
I met him a couple times. The one was like at Jimmy's they put on an event there, and like he got a standing ovation when he walked in the room. But he, out of all of the different player appearances I went to last year, he like stuck around, talked about how much he loved Baltimore, how much he loved the fan base. All of the questions were diverted back to the fans. Everything was about the fans. His parents were there. His mom was walking around hugging people. Like, he loved it. And
yeah,
I think the Orioles made up their mind. They made him an offer to say that they made him an offer, and it was an offer that they knew he wasn't going to take.
That he would refuse. Yep.
Right.
To make it look like it was his fault.
Yep.
But that's fine. I mean, we talked about it on this show. We didn't see a room for him going forward. 44 home runs is tough to replace, but the defense isn't.
To do it.
I mean, we talked about it too. If Heston hits 25, Kowser hits 25, Adley gets back to form and hits 20, 25. You get a full season of Westberg hitting 25, probably more.
Mountie with 30 with the wall.
Mountie, we all think Mountie will hit 30. It's replaceable by numbers, but your defense gets better.
Yeah.
I don't know if Kerstad's that answer. That's remained to be seen. But long term, I think everybody knows that.
Drew's comment, man.
I think everybody knows that Bradfield is going to be here. Dylan Beavers looks like an unstoppable force. Like you just couldn't tie Tony up for 5 years with just so much talent waiting to come up. Is it a wrong decision? We'll find out in 5 years.
Yeah, but for now, you understand. You got too much talent. You gotta let it play out.
Reeta, I have one final question for you.
Yep.
I ask this to every guest that comes on, and I know I'm going to get a very good answer for this. Is Brandon Hyde going to finish this year as our manager?
Unfortunately.
Ooh,
that was quick.
That was very quick because Buck Britton is now on the bench, and he had maximum success with all of these guys.
Unfortunately, I think he does. That doesn't mean that I think that, depending on how the season goes, that he'll be the manager for next year. It just means that I think that they think highly enough of him where they have enough talent where I don't think that they're going to be in such a bind where they have to fire him in season. That's how I feel about that. I think the talent will override whatever stupid decisions we think that Brandon makes. And so because of that, they're not ever going to be Oakland A-ish, right? So, or White Sox-ish. So, but I think that if they go again and they make the playoffs and they don't advance minimum to a World Series, he's out. That's what I have to assume that's the case.
Fair.
What if he wins Manager of the Year?
I don't care. Win a playoff series, goddamn.
You got Look, at this point, you did that. We've been there and done that already, bro. I know. Like, nah.
I just want it to happen just to see Twitter blow up. That's
just so you can see me melt down on the show.
Well, I mean, you'll melt down on text before the show, so.
Oh yeah.
All right, you got anything else before you run off?
Yeah, you're gonna be down at Pickles on the 31st.
I will be at Pickles on the 31st. So
giving us one of these.
Yeah, I'll be out there. I'm actually gonna probably. I know they're having a block party too. My mom wants to go, so I'll probably take her to the block party as well. So I'll be at the block party. I'll be at opening day. So if you see
Marriott does some cool stuff too.
Yeah, they do.
Yep. I usually hang out there.
Yep.
And you just shameless plug for the Orioles, the block party guys. If you got kids, if you're priced out of professional sports, the tickets are so cheap. The parking is free.
I think. Yep.
Yeah, it's $10. Parking's free. There's going to be players there. Tons of stuff for the kids. Like, I really suggest you hop on Orioles.com/block party. Grab those tickets. They're cheap. It's a great event. It just puts everybody in the baseball mood. So hopefully we see a lot of people down there.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's gonna make me pumped up, excited, and I'm sure it will. So I'm excited about it. So I'll see you guys hopefully at Pickles. If not, I'll see you inside the stadium on opening day. Let's have a beer, Camden burger, whatever. Let's have some fun.
I'll be there.
All right, guys.
All right, Reeta. Thank you for coming on with us tonight.
Thanks.
Yep. Cool. All right, guys. That was Reeta Hubbard here from 105.7 The Fan at the NFL Chick, and we appreciate her coming on tonight.
Yes. It was refreshing to have somebody echo some sentiments that I have. It was very, very refreshing. But I love giving you guys a hard time. But it's obviously it's all love. But I think that the next couple of weeks is really going to tell a lot because we're going to find out where Grayson is injury wise. We're going to find out where Gunnar is injury wise. We're going to find out whether or not Batista is going to start the year on the IL, which I'm anticipating it, but that doesn't seem like as big of a deal to me as it does to other people.
I'm almost prefer it.
I would rather.
There's no reason for him or Gunnar to even go in the first two road series.
Give me 4 solid months of Batista around Memorial Day and forward. Once I'm not saying come back at Memorial Day, but to be ramped up throwing 101 the way he wants to.
Yeah.
I I have not believed that Batista was going to be on this opening day roster, even after his like 2 starts or 2 sessions. I've never once, I've never once believed that he was going to be on this opening day roster. I didn't.
I agree though. I totally agree with that sentiment.
And I'm okay with that. Bring him in a month.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, we gotta really brace for some turbulent baseball in that time frame. If we're not gonna have Batista, we're not gonna have Gunnar, we're not gonna have Kittredge.
It'd be a pretty boring opening day.
This is me being optimistic. So Matt, you can shake a stick at this. I don't care. Zach will give me a little smirk about it, but I think that Sugano and Povich are going to blow people's brains out of their head.
I agree with you though.
And I think in 2 months, I'm going to come back. I'm going to play this clip and say, hey, look, we got a 2.4 ERA and a 2.6 ERA from 2 guys that you thought were going to be one fighting for a spot and one being your 5th man. I believe it.
Joe, we're not really talking about college. We're talking about pro. You know, I kind of root for all the local colleges here in Maryland. You know, I love to see Towson basketball doing well. I'm a Maryland basketball guy, you know, but, you know, when it comes to collegiate sports, you know, I guess it's different. I'm not a diehard college guy, but Tim, I do agree with you, man. Like, I think Povich is going to have a good year. I think that he needs to get a shot in this rotation. And I'm talking about a legitimate shot, like what Reeta was saying. Yeah, Drew, the same Povich that was over 5.
Yeah, Povich is going to be really good.
Povich, the thing is, this is the problem that everybody doesn't always want to understand. You got to let these young guys work through their shit. If they get roughed up a start or 2, they shouldn't be back on a bus to Norfolk or Bowie.
Unless you're throwing it right down the middle.
Yeah,
which he wasn't.
If you're throwing meatballs right down the middle and you're getting smacked around and you're going to ending in a third 3 or 4 straight starts, yeah, go back to the minors and then get your head right. But
I knew what I was going to ask you guys. Continue, but don't let me forget.
But Povich was he deserves a chance, and he's a lefty. And you got to give a left-handed guy a chance in this rotation. Maybe I'm old school with saying that you need at least one lefty in that starting 5. I know a couple of teams are not having a left-hander start, but between Suarez and Povich, Suarez can wear so many different hats. Yeah. He can be your long guy. He can be your bridge guy. He can be a 7th inning guy, and he could probably close in a pinch if you really, really needed him to. But
I would love to see someone tell Suarez to go out there and get me 3 outs.
Yeah, if like with the way things are going, that might be happening because Cano is not trustworthy. I don't care what he's looking like this spring; he's not trustworthy. So at the end of the day, if Hyde says, "Al, go out there and get us 3," well, you might get a dynamite 1, 2, 3. He might get the close, you know, the save, and all of a sudden now we're talking like, oh, can Suarez pitch the 8th when Batista's healthy? Because then you got a pretty dynamite 8-9 right there. Because you know Suarez is at least reliable in 1 inning of pitching.
Yep.
All right, my shower thought the other day, just to get your opinion. How we always talk about how this fan base, these people, these Orioles, we're like rushed. Everyone's in this win now. We need to win now. We need to win now. Now's our time. We're gonna miss the window. We need to win now. And I fall victim to it. We all fall victim to it. I get it, right? Do you guys think that this fan base, the city, would have the same mentality if we didn't? We're rewinding here 3 seasons ago. If we didn't have that surprise 80-win season, right? We had that surprise 80-plus win season. Then we won 100. Then we regressed a little bit. If we didn't have that out of nowhere, holy shit, the Orioles are good, because it was out of nowhere. You know, the fall off from the season before it to that 80-plus win season was out of nowhere. If we didn't have that and that spark in this city that, oh my God, the Orioles are good. Look at all these young studs. They're here. Let's go. Are we still in this rush to like win now 3 years later?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Zach, because I have a different thought on it.
You got to win a playoff game. And I think if you've won a playoff game, the rush wouldn't be as bad throughout the fan base.
Okay. Fair. and that's very short and simple. I'm gonna go a different direction with the answer though. If we don't have the 101 win season, if we have the 83 win season followed by a 91 win season that we had last year, if you take out that 23 and make 22 and 24 consecutive years, and you don't have that triple digit win season thrown in there, you have another 85 or 87 win, and then you build a 91. I don't think the rush would be as severe because you're slowly progressing. You're going from 50 some odd or 60 some odd wins to 83 to 88 to 91. So you're showing steady improvement with the guys you got. The fact that we had that surprise 83 win season, then we had the 101 win season, and then we've regressed 10 games last year. Yeah, there's more pressure. There's more pressure for win now because now you have everything that we sat through for the majority of COVID has now blossomed. You know what you got with Adley, you know what you got with Gunner, you know what you got with Jordan Westberg, you know what you got with Colton Cowser, you know what you got with Adley Rutschman. You know, these guys are all here. It's not like they're sitting around in AAA or AA still, or they're unknowns. You got the talent on the hitting side of the diamond. That 1 through 9, you got talent all over the place. Now you got to go have the pitching match that, and they haven't done it.
You fell into my trap.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
We have to have the pitching match that, right? So
we
when we had that blowout 101 win season that lit a fire, everyone, what certified ace did we go acquire in free agency and spend a bunch of money on?
Nobody.
Corbin Burns.
I mean, Corbin Burns, that was after the you're right. It was after the 101 win season. So, yeah. And then we had a 10 win regression.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to bring up too is how good could this fucking team could have been last year if they didn't lose Kyle Bradish and if they didn't lose Felix and if they didn't have Craig Kimball closing games.
We're not having this conversation.
Exactly. This team could have won 105 games last year.
If Batista's your closer and Bradish doesn't get hurt and Means and Wells don't get hurt, and you have 4 potential ones, and you have Grayson Rodriguez as your 5,
with Povich just waiting.
Yeah, with Povich in the bullpen,
didn't even need to use him.
Right, like that's a completely different thing. Because last year, if everything would have been that, there's that if thing again, the if player.
You're also forgetting about Westberg fell out of this lineup, and the team looked completely different when Westberg came out of that lineup.
If Burns, Bradish, Means, Wells, and Rodriguez all start 28 to 30 games, and then Batista is closing and he gets you 50 saves, and then you got Westberg not missing 2 months, and you got
fully season of Danny Colomb.
Right, you got a full season of Colomb, and then you got Mountcastle not dealing with vertigo.
It's a damn good team.
It's a 105 win, like Zach said. You might win 110 games.
We forgot Adley not eating fast food on TikTok.
Yeah,
some injuries are going to happen, but I mean
something. No, I believe he got hurt somewhere. I don't. Yeah. I can't pinpoint when. I'm not going to sit there and say that and blame that all on him. I know. I joke and I make snide comments. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt that something was off, because he's a lot better than what we're saying or what he was portraying for the second half of last year. But if you have all those things, I understand injuries happen in baseball, and I have accredited the injuries to the way things turned out. We still won 91 games. You guys have said that multiple times. We could have had a conversation where we could have went 7 with the Dodgers.
Hmm?
A healthy Orioles team like that
first, but
right. But what I'm saying is, we would have went all the way with that team. If you would have told me that, if
Grayson Rodriguez would have been coming out of the bullpen.
If you would have told me that in a 3-game series, if you would have had a 3-game series where you had Corbin Burns, Kyle Bradish, and John Means as your 1, 2, and 3, we're smoking whoever.
Yeah.
If you have a healthy Adley and a healthy Westberg, we're smoking whoever. Coulomb in the 7th, you
Grayson in the 8th probably.
Right, Grayson probably pitching in the 8th, and then you got the Mountain pitching in the 9th. it's a completely different situation. It's completely different all the way around.
Yep.
And I truly believe that. And
I think a lot of fans forget it quickly, and they just quickly to dismiss this team as, Elias sucks and this and that. I mean, sometimes shit just happens. It's out of everybody's control.
I'm not off the Elias boat yet. I think that he can build a very good baseball team, which he has.
He could, but then what happens when everyone comes back?
You got some tough decisions to make.
Exactly.
You got some tough decisions to make. When in the event, I know that we're not going to see them in the first half of the year. After the All-Star break, hypothetically speaking, after the All-Star break, the Orioles are sitting around 50 or 55 wins. Okay? My brother isn't an Elias guy, so Tim, I know you're laughing. He's in the minority because I'm an Elias guy. I'm still going to believe in him. Now you're sitting around 50 or 55 wins at the All-Star break. And then the trade deadline's coming up. Some of these guys you got to make a tough decision on. You can move to get somebody else that you might need.
Yeah.
There might be a situation where no matter what, Sugano might be in the bullpen the second half of the year because you got Bradish and Wells coming back. Or you just do what you should have done in the first place and you keep Wells in the bullpen. And let
Charlie Morton retire.
Or if Morton's not having that good of a year, you DFA him and eat the money.
Mm-hmm. I think they're okay with that.
I think they're okay with that. And I think the same thing can be said for Sugano. You option him down if you don't want to move him. So the thing is, they're going to have to make some hard decisions. But I think it's going to be better because if you get Wells back and you get Bradish back, those are two good pieces to the pitching staff. Even if you bring Bradish back in July and say, take all the time you need, but get on the 26 man and get on the 40 before the eligibility runs out for the postseason. Do that and then let him do what he's got to do. I'm okay with that. Same thing with Wells. If you tell me Bradish and Wells are going to be on the pitching staff for the AL wildcard series, okay, count me in. I'm cool with that. But the thing is, it's probably going to come at the expense of Sugano. It's probably going to come at the expense of Morton. Those are the two guys that you got to look at.
It could come at the expense of anybody.
It could come at the expense of anybody. It could be. I highly doubt they're going to do anything with Eflin or Kramer because that seems like to be the two guys that are probably going to be the stalwarts of this rotation, or barring injury, so to speak. Yeah. That's just where I'm at with it. And I know I'm long-winded on this one, but I believe that this is the situation that you present.
It goes back, and I know you don't want to hear it. The O's are fine. I know nobody wants to hear it. But when it all comes back together, the O's are fine. They're actually going to be at a point where they're so beyond far fine that they have to make those tough decisions.
Mm-hmm. We got to get there.
Couldn't you fault the guy maybe for waiting so he doesn't have to? I'm not one of these guys in the eye. I mean, he did it with Santander.
I hear you.
Looked him in the eye and said, "We just don't have room for you, bud."
Okay, I understand that. Now, if Gunnar isn't as hurt as I believe he is, this makes me breathe a sigh of relief because if Gunnar is in the lineup on opening day and he is healthy, I will eat my words. Because I don't believe we're going to see Gunnar for a while because I said it when Reeta was on the show earlier, and I've said it the last couple of shows. You don't move Jackson for a 2-week injury. That's just me. Because they could say, oh, he's going to take batting practice and fielding practice in a couple of days. And then they can say, oh, he had a setback.
To be fair, Manchin and Soto are not on the 40-man. So you don't have a shortstop whatsoever on the 40-man if Gunnar isn't ready and or needs a break. And then maybe they're trying to get rid of Mateo. I don't think anybody's taking that into consideration because he's almost ready, and they still move Jackson to shortstop.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, when it comes to these injuries, you can't really believe everything that they're saying to you, because
you can watch Mateo's hitting video. He looks almost ready to go. He's swinging full 100%.
Yeah, and I saw it, and it's to be fair, you're more spot on than not. I'm just thinking to myself, if Gunner's only supposed to be out a couple of weeks, why are we ruining the progress of Jackson getting everyday reps at second base? It's not like he's been a second baseman for 5 years, and we're saying, "Oh, go slide over to short. We know you can do it." And he's like, "Okay." He had his heart set on being a major league shortstop. He switches over to second base, and now you're sliding him back to shortstop again, and you're just telling him, "Oh, it's going to be temporary." The kid is 21 years old, and you saw that his psyche wasn't all the way there.
Yeah.
So it's a more than a physical thing. It's a mental thing. And to be fair, all world shortstops get paid buku money compared to all world second basemen.
Mm-hmm.
So there is feelings there. There's feelings involved and to be perfectly honest, Jackson should probably be our shortstop anyway. I love Gunner, but Gunner should be at third base.
It's tough for me to think because Gunner he literally led the majors last year, or not led. He was second in most web gem plays. So
but how many errors did he have though?
He had a lot of errors in a 4-week stretch, but other than that, he was pretty.
Zach, you can't eliminate 1 month and then just thinking about the 5.
I'm an analytic guy. I do it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm trying to look at things as a whole. Okay, he had web gems. He has insane athletic ability to be a professional shortstop. At the same time, he also relies on that athleticism as opposed to.
Think about it though, like he's an animal. Like
he is.
Get the hell out of his way. Put him at third base where he's like locked in his little like 10-foot area where he's not really supposed to leave. It's not going to go well. Like he's an animal. He needs to roam. He needs to go make plays. I don't think third suits him.
But he has the arm for it, and he has the reactionary speed for it.
Sure.
I'm not saying that Westberg doesn't, but you could have eliminated this whole situation if you would have just kept Westberg at second base in the first place. But now Westberg
don't want to be there.
I mean, who gives a shit?
He's a Boers guy, and they don't make any money at second.
Yeah. I mean,
that's why Jackson should go to center field.
I mean, Jackson should go to center field. Or he should go to left field. One of those two. But, that's definitely not going to happen now, especially with Bradfield and Honeycutt in the minors. Jackson will never see center field.
Can you imagine a Jackson,
if
Bradfield,
San Diego
Cowser
wants to get rid of Michael King for Bradfield?
That's true, Drew. But,
I don't know.
I think that once we know, I think we need like another week to kind of see where all this falls.
Yeah, we got 16 days, right?
Yeah,
we got 16.
27.
I can't count.
We got 13 days until opening day.
Yeah, okay.
13 days.
We should know more in 7 days.
Right. So I think a week out of the regular season, we should have a better grasp and a better idea of what's going on.
And like I've said it to you guys before, I could care less if Gunner plays on the road or not. I literally could care less if he's there, because is it 6 or 7 games on the road to start?
I think it's only.
It's 2 series.
Yeah, I thought it was 5 because I thought it was 3 and 2, like a weird number.
Is that what it is? I thought it was 4 and 3 for some reason. Either way,
what? I
could care less if Gunner's missing those road trips.
I'm gonna be real pissed if I go to opening day and I see Le'Veon Soto at shortstop.
That's what I mean. Bring Gunner up. You give him those extra 5 days to rest. Yeah. Bring him up then. Who cares? Norfolk's going to be playing. Let him get some at bats. He doesn't need to go to Toronto.
That's true.
Don't give a shit. I mean, yeah, those games matter, and it would be great to have him. But I mean, if I miss 5 days of Gunner to have him fully healthy rather than a guy who's going to be scuffling at the plate for 2 weeks, like
it's just please. 4 in Toronto, and then we're at home.
Okay.
Yeah,
but is there a day off or no?
9:30.
No.
Okay. So
27, 28, 29, 30. in Toronto, and then the 31st we got Boston at home.
I think Toronto's shitty enough where we could take 3 out of 4 without Gunnar Henderson.
I would hope so. But
They're terrible. They
Why
might
they
not
gotta-
win 70 games this year.
I just realized that we play the Royals like right away.
Mm-hmm. We did last year too.
I know.
Remember Westberg's home runs?
I hate it so much.
But yeah, that'll do it for this week's edition of Foul Ball Talk, brought to you by Pigtown Sports YouTube channel. Guys, it's been a pleasure for the last 90 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for interacting and tuning in. We want to thank Reeta Hubbard again for giving us an hour of her time over there with Glenn Clark and their show on 105.7 The Fan.
At NFL Chick.
At NFL Chick. Quick plug for me. Daniel Wilcox and I are going to be launching our We Bleed Purple podcast YouTube channel the first week of April. So be on the lookout for that. If you can subscribe, it'd be nice. We got 13 followers today after my announcement. So Tim, Zach, let everybody know where they can find you guys being a menace on social media, for the people that don't know.
Zach, you have social media?
No, I don't really post all that much.
The sarcasm is bleeding through the screen.
Pretty much everybody already knows. They're already watching off them channels anyway.
Yeah.
Foul Ball Talk. The meme lord.
Yes. Joe is
The meme
subscriber number 13. Thank you guys. Thank you for that today, Joe. Guys, we'll be back next week to talk about the regular season being a week out at this point. Don't know if we're gonna have any special guests next week, but stay tuned and we'll let you guys know if we do. That'll do it for the show.
Yeah, and go buy your tickets to the block party before opening day. They're $10, and kids under 14, you get 2 kids for free under per ticket under the age of 14. And there's players, there's all kinds of stuff. Like it's gonna be awesome. It's cool to see the Orioles do that. So do that because I'll be there. I'll be there at the block party, and I'll see you at opening day too. But go get your tickets to the block party now. $10 a ticket. You get 2 kids under the age of 14 for free with each ticket. Autographs, player pictures, all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, dugout access. Did I mention you can take your kids in the dugout? So check it out. Do it up.
Kobe Mayo's 5 for his last 9. Did not realize that.
It's because I talked shit about him when he was 2 for 12.
He was 1 for 23.
Oh,
Who's
yeah.
gonna wrap
2 for
the
24.
show?
I'm sorry.
All right. Peace.